When we talk about oatmeal, most people truly believe they're choosing the healthiest possible breakfast, and in many ways they are ***, but only if they choose the right kind of oats ***. And this is where so many people unintentionally go wrong. They walk into the store, reach for the brightly colored instant packets, and think they've made a smart decision because it says whole grain or high fiber on the front. But what they don't realize is that those instant oats have been broken down so much that your body absorbs them almost instantly. Instead of giving you slow, steady energy, they rush through your system like sugar. You spike, you crash, and suddenly the morning feels heavier, more sluggish, more demanding than it should be. And the reason this matters isn't just about energy, it's about what's happening inside your body at the cellular level. When your breakfast creates a quick jump in blood sugar, your body has to respond with an equally sharp rise in insulin. Over time, this pattern becomes exhausting for your metabolism. It dampens your ability to burn fat, weakens your hunger cues, and makes you feel hungry again way earlier than you should. Many people think they have a big appetite. Many people think they're just craving snacks by mid-morning. But often it's not appetite, it's not cravings, it's just the wrong oats. Now think about this. You deserve a breakfast that supports you, not one that works against you. You deserve nourishment that stabilizes your energy, sharpens your focus, and carries you through your day with clarity. And that comes from making a small shift, choosing oats that still look like oats, rolled oats, steel, cut oats, or whole oat groats. These are oats that still have their structure, their integrity, their natural fibers fully intact. When your body works through them slowly, it rewards you with steadier glucose, calmer hunger, and a sense of fullness that doesn't fade the moment you step out the door. And once you make this shift, something interesting begins to happen. You start to feel more in control. Your mornings become smoother, your energy no longer swings wildly, and your breakfast finally does what it was meant to do: support your health, not jeopardize it. Choosing the right oats isn't just a detail. It's the foundation for everything that follows, and the moment you get this part right, the rest of your day rises to meet your intention. One of the biggest mistakes people make with oatmeal happens not in the oats themselves, but in what they add on top. And the truth is, most people don't even realize they're doing it. They think they're making their oats more delicious, or giving themselves a little treat, or adding something natural. But a small spoonful here, a drizzle there, a packet poured in out of habit, and suddenly a wholesome breakfast becomes a sugar-loaded meal that sends the body into chaos before the day has even begun. What we often forget is that sugar hides behind friendly labels. Brown sugar looks comforting, honey feels natural, maple syrup sounds wholesome. Even the flavored oatmeal packets, apple, cinnamon, peaches, and cream, maple brown sugar, feel like they're still healthy because they're paired with oats. But the body doesn't care about the story written on the front of the box. It only sees the surge of glucose it has to wrestle with. And that surge doesn't just give you a little bump, it sets off a wave. Your blood sugar rises quickly, and your insulin rushes in right behind it. And the moment that happens, you're suddenly placed on a roller coaster you never intended to ride. What follows is predictable. A few hours later, you feel hungry again, not because you didn't eat enough, not because your body needs nourishment, but because the sugar swing has already dipped. You feel tired, a little foggy, maybe even irritable. You reach for something quick, something convenient, and without even realizing it, you've fallen into a loop that controls the rest of your day. That's the quiet power of sugar. It doesn't just sweeten your breakfast, it dictates your physiology. But here's the empowering part. When you begin reducing the added sugars in your oatmeal, your body responds almost immediately. You feel more grounded, the energy you get from your food lasts longer, you're not thinking about snacking. You're not fighting cravings, and your body starts to operate from a place of balance instead of reaction. It's not about eliminating sweetness entirely, it's about choosing sweetness that works with your metabolism, not against it. A few berries, a sliced apple, a sprinkle of cinnamon, these offer flavor without chaos. And when you finally reclaim your bowl of oats from the grip of hidden sugars, you give yourself a breakfast that truly fuels you, steadies you, and sets the tone for a healthier, clearer, more intentional day ahead. There's something important we need to understand about oatmeal, something that almost everyone overlooks. On its own, oatmeal is comforting, warm, familiar, but it's incomplete. And when something is incomplete, your body feels that gap. You may not recognize it consciously, but your metabolism does, your hunger hormones do, your energy levels do. And that's why one of the biggest mistakes people make is eating oatmeal by itself, without adding the protein and healthy fats that turn a simple bowl into a truly balanced meal. Think about what happens when you eat plain oats. They digest quickly, even the healthier varieties. That means your blood sugar begins to rise, even if only moderately, and for a moment you feel satisfied. But because there's no protein to anchor that rise, and no healthy fats to slow the release, the energy slips away sooner than you expect. You feel the hunger return, sometimes subtly, sometimes suddenly. You glance at the clock and wonder how it's possible that you ate not long ago, yet your body already feels ready for something more. This isn't a failure of your willpower, it's simply the physiology of an unbalanced meal. Now imagine instead that you bring structure to that bowl. Add a scoop of protein, Greek yogurt, protein powder, an egg cooked separately, or even nut butter that carries both protein and fat. Suddenly the rhythm in your body changes. Protein stabilizes blood sugar, keeps cravings quiet, and feeds your muscles. Healthy fats extend your fullness, calm inflammation, and help your brain stay clear and focused throughout the morning. These two elements don't just add calories, they add control. They give your metabolism something to work with, something to build from. And the difference you feel is remarkable. Instead of coming down from a quick rise of energy, you enter a smoother lane where your hunger is calm, your concentration is steady, and your morning unfolds without that familiar crash that makes you reach for snacks or coffee just to keep going. This isn't about complicating your breakfast, it's about elevating it. It's about honoring what your body truly needs rather than giving it only part of the equation. When you pair your oats with the right protein and healthy fats, your breakfast stops being a temporary solution and becomes a foundation, one that supports your muscles, your metabolism, and your mindset long after you finish the last bite. When people try to make their oatmeal healthier, they often turn to fruit, nuts, or granola, believing they're adding more nutrition, and in many ways they are, but the mistake comes from not realizing that even healthy foods can work against you when they're added in the wrong amounts or chosen without awareness. A bowl that begins with the intention of nourishment can quietly transform into a meal that spikes blood sugar just as sharply as sugary cereal, all because the toppings, not the oats, take over. Take fruit, for example, nature's sweetness, full of vitamins and fiber. But when someone adds a whole banana, a handful of raisins, a few dates, and maybe some dried cranberries because they taste good together, what they're actually doing is layering sugar on top of sugar. Dried fruit, in particular, is concentrated sweetness. What was once one piece of fruit becomes a handful of small bites that each carry the sugar load of multiple servings. The body doesn't distinguish whether the sugar came from a refined product or a fruit. It still has to manage that rapid rise in glucose. So, even with good intentions, the result is the same: a fast spike, a fast crash, and a wave of hunger soon after. Granola is another common trap. People think of it as a health food, but many granolas are high in oils, sweeteners, and added sugars. A small sprinkle becomes half a cup without noticing, and suddenly the oats that should have been the heart of the meal become the least influential part of the bowl. Even nuts, which are nutritious and supportive in moderation, can quickly add up when handful after handful is tossed in. Without balance, all these additions create a meal that overwhelms your metabolism rather than supporting it. But the good news is you don't have to remove toppings entirely. You simply have to let them complement the oats instead of overpowering them. A small serving of berries brings antioxidants and fiber without the sugar surge. A few slices of apple offer sweetness with structure. Cinnamon adds warmth and flavor without calories at all. When toppings become thoughtful rather than automatic, your oatmeal becomes a powerful tool for steady energy, better digestion, and metabolic balance. The goal isn't to take away joy from your breakfast, it's to ensure every ingredient works in your favor, helping your body operate from strength rather than struggle. Another mistake that slips by unnoticed is the liquid used to cook the oats. Most people don't think twice about it. They reach for whatever is closest, maybe a flavored plant milk, maybe a sweetened dairy alternative, maybe even a creamer, because it tastes good and blends smoothly. But what they don't realize is that the liquid can completely transform the nutritional impact of their breakfast. 1 cup of the wrong milk can add more sugar, more additives, and more unnecessary calories than the oats themselves. And suddenly, the bowl that was supposed to steady your morning becomes something your body has to fight to manage. Even when people choose what they believe is healthy, like almond milk or oat milk, they often pick versions that contain added sugars, gums, emulsifiers, and flavors that disrupt digestion. And because these ingredients are hidden under comforting labels like original, vanilla, or lightly sweetened, most never notice the impact. But your body notices, your gut microbiome notices, your blood sugar notices, you feel hungrier sooner, even if you can't quite explain why. You feel less satisfied, even with a full stomach, and sometimes your digestion feels off, not because of the oats, but because of what you've poured on top of them. Then there's the cooking method. Many people microwave oats with too much liquid, leaving them mushy and quickly digestible, which again sends sugar into the bloodstream faster. Others cook them so thin that the meal becomes less satisfying, almost like a drink rather than food. The way oats are prepared changes how slowly or quickly your body absorbs them. A thicker, gently cooked bowl one that still has texture keeps you full longer, supports more stable energy, and works with your metabolism. But it's not just about sugar or texture, it's about intention. When you choose unsweetened liquids, plain almond milk, regular dairy milk if tolerated, or even just water, you bring the focus back to the oats themselves. You give your breakfast space to nourish you rather than distract your body with extra ingredients it didn't ask for. And when you cook your oats with care, giving them time to soften naturally instead of rushing the process, you create a bowl that supports you on a deeper level. These small decisions matter. They shape how your body responds to the very first meal of the day, and they set the stage for how strong, steady, and balanced you feel in the hours that follow. One more mistake that often goes unnoticed is treating oatmeal as something harmless simply because it's healthy. And this is where portion size quietly works against people. Oats are nutrient dense, calorically rich, and incredibly filling when eaten mindfully, but many treat them like a free food, assuming they can have as much as they want, whenever they want. That's how a reasonable serving becomes a large bowl, and that large bowl becomes a late night snack, and before long, they're eating far more oats than their metabolism actually needs. It doesn't feel like overeating because the food itself is healthy, but your body still has to process every bit of it. What people don't realize is that oats, especially when eaten frequently throughout the day, can add up faster than expected. A bowl in the morning seems fine, but then a granola bar between meals, or overnight oats in the evening, or a handful of oat-based cereal because it's just a little something, these small decisions accumulate. And suddenly, what seemed like a gentle food becomes a quiet driver of weight gain, fatigue, and fluctuating hunger, not because the oats are bad, but because the balance is off. Oat-based snacks make this even trickier. Granola bars, energy bites, oat cookies, these are marketed as wholesome, but many are packed with sugars, oils, and dense calories. People eat them believing they're making a better choice, yet the body experiences them almost the same way it would experience dessert. The result is a slow drip of excess energy your metabolism must store, usually in ways you'd prefer it didn't. Timing matters, too. Eating large portions of oats late at night may feel comforting, but it doesn't give your body the chance to use that energy. Instead, it gets stored because that's simply what the body is designed to do when food comes in during rest hours. And over time, this pattern disrupts sleep quality, digestion, and metabolic rhythm. But when you treat oatmeal intentionally, one serving, thoughtfully built, eaten at the right time, it becomes a powerful ally. It gives you stable energy, supports your gut, and keeps your hunger grounded instead of escalating throughout the day. The goal isn't to restrict, it's to align, because when your choices match what your body truly needs, you step into a healthier, clearer, more empowered version of yourself.